If these aren't set mushrooms, well, what a way to go. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Gary, and today we're going to go to the forest to search for some mushrooms. This year is supposed to be a great year for ceps, porcinis, or penny buns they're called in the UK. So let's nip out to the forest and see what we can find. We are here in the New Forest, and the New Forest is not exactly new. It was established about 1,000 years ago by William the Conqueror and is now home to thousands of different species of fungus, some non-edible, some edible. And this year in particular, the mycelium is really fruiting. The mushrooms are everywhere, especially like this beefsteak mushroom here on the side of a tree that resembles a steak. Now ideally don't pick mushrooms because you want them to spore. There's loads of beefsteaks, so I'm going to cut this one in half to show you. It looks just like a steak, and even when you squeeze it, it even bleeds, just like this. But sadly it doesn't taste like beef, it's got like a lemony mushroom flavour to it. And here it is, our first great find of the day, a penny bun mushroom. Named penny bun because the top of the mushroom looks like a bun. Give it a little tap, nice and firm. And now in the New Forest you can't pick mushrooms if you're going to sell them commercially, but I believe you can pick them for your own personal use. So we're going to take this one nice and gently out of the ground. Look at that, a beautiful cep, a porcini, or penny bun in English. Now on with the search. Not long till we found our next penny bun. This one's got a nice weight to it, a beautiful thick stem, which is delicious once cooked. And just a couple more finds, and that'll be the perfect amount to make our porcini risotto. Look at that. These mushrooms also have a beautiful smell of the forest and are so satisfying once you find it. The real king of the mushroom on the forest find. Foraging gold. And now we clean them up where we find them, just so those mushroom trimmings go back into the ground in the forest. Okay, and we hit the jackpot. We found stacks of porcini mushrooms. Porcinis in Italian, ceps in French, penny buns in the UK. For this video, I'm going to call them porcini because just growing up in kitchens, that's what I was used to. I was used to ceps as well, but let's just call it porcini mushrooms. In the forest today, we found some beautiful specimens of porcini mushrooms. And with these, we're going to make a delicious, luxurious risotto. We're going to use loads of butter, loads of Parmesan cheese. We're going to use some fresh ceps, porcinis, into the mushroom risotto. These are one of the best eating mushrooms there are, so let's dive in. And if you want to see my forage around the forest in a longer form, then I'll put a link here. It's a nice relaxing video, 45 minutes long, forest sounds, me walking through the woods, the twigs, the leaves. It's a great video to fall asleep to. So if you find it hard to relax at night time, click on this video right here, and this will help you relax and fall asleep. But for now, let's cook porcini mushrooms. Remember, side note, if you don't know what you're picking, don't pick any strange mushrooms. Make sure you're 100% sure, which I am, he says. Remember, you can always get dried porcinis, dried ceps in the supermarket, fresh ceps in some supermarkets. Never risk it, play it safe. Let's cook porcini risotto. And today, this video is sponsored by Country Fair Food in Dorset. They have supplied me with some fantastic ingredients, like this major mushroom stock paste, which we're using today to make a nice mushroom stock. Risottos are all about the stock that goes into the rice to give it that flavour, as well as the other ingredients. Along with that, some beautiful unsalted butter. So we're going to be using that at the end of the risotto. So some fantastic ingredients. And this is one of my new favourites. And this is Belezu truffle and artichoke pesto. Tried it for the first time. Thank you Country Fair for sending over the ingredients. Very much appreciated. This is going to stay in my stock cupboard for a long time. It's super delicious, and we're going to top the risotto with this lovely truffle and artichoke pesto. Okay, so first up we're going to use this mushroom stock, and we're going to add 1 tablespoon into 1 litre of water as directed. And now whisk as directed. You can make your own mushroom stock by using mushroom trimmings, water, tarragon leaves, and then simmer that down. And now we want that to be hot, ready to go into the rice. And now an ingredient I'm using quite a lot of at the moment is pure butter ghee, used in Indian food, but it's basically butter and you can cook it to a higher temperature. So if you're using normal butter, it would sometimes burn the pan. So I'm using ghee, a teaspoon of this just to go in a pan to fry the onions and garlic off, ready for the risotto rice. Now, if kitchen life and cooking is new to you, I'm going to show you how to cut an onion like a chef. First, we take nice long strips down the side of the onion, leaving the top connected. Then we cut across the onion 2 to 3 times, depending on how fine you want the onion. And then gently we go down the onion, giving yourself some nice diced onion. Now you want the nut of the onion at the top. This will keep the onion together while you're cutting it. The nut is where the root comes out of. And now for the garlic, a little crush with a knife there, that helps take the skin off. And then we're just going to slice that up to add it to the onions. Gently rolling the knife with your fingertips next to it will help you give you nice thin slices. And now we're going to take the onions and the garlic and add that to the hot ghee. Not too hot, you don't want to burn your onions and garlic. And now into that goes our arborio risotto rice. This is a special kind of rice that goes nice and creamy, and unlike other rices where you wash it to get the starch off, you want to keep the starch in this, and that's going to keep it nice and creamy as it cooks. Okay, so moving the onions and garlic around, we're going to add the rice into the pan. You're going to need about 1 cup of rice for 1 portion. And now taking a wooden spoon, we want to move that rice around and give it a nice toasting in the ghee. Unlike other rices, you want to toast the arborio rice to get a little bit of colour on each grain. And you should be able to hear the rice starting to pop under the heat. Country Fare give me this nice red wine jus for a sample. I like to add a little bit of demi-glace, which is a kind of thick meat gravy to my risottos, my mushroom risottos, to give it a little bit of meatiness. And as soon as that demi-glace, that rich glaze goes in, the rice starts automatically soaking it up. And now gradually we're going to add the heated mushroom stock into that risotto. We're going to stir and cook till the mushroom stock has been absorbed before the next ladle goes in. Keeping it moving, making sure the risotto stays nice and creamy. It's already got a nice glaze. Actually, while I think of it, if you haven't got any mushroom stock and you've got dried porcinis from the supermarket, one great thing to do is to soak those dried porcini mushrooms in water and then use the water from those dried porcinis to use as mushroom stock, because all that flavour is coming out into the water. A nice instant, cheap way to get a free mushroom stock. Now, next ladle's going in. Make sure you don't burn the rice. Keep that moving. Now, as I've got so many porcinis, I'm going to chuck some of those in the rice as well, as we mix that round and cook it, just to bash them down into the rice, help add to that flavour. And the rest of the mushrooms I'll probably dehydrate for later use. Doesn't matter too much, but I think looking back, if I was going to do this again, I'd probably put the spare porcini mushrooms in with the onions and garlic, fry that off in the ghee, then add the rice, just to get those just get a little bit of caramelization on the sep, and that's just going to add a little bit more umami, a bit more taste. So umami comes from when you're like frying meat and you get that brown out exterior, and if you fry the mushrooms and start getting that nice little bit of colour on there, you're going to add to that flavour and depth of flavour of the porcini. So if I was doing it again, I'll probably fry the mushrooms in the ghee. In this situation, I've got stacks of them. I think they're about £65 a kilo, so I found nearly £100 worth of seps yesterday. Well, my daughter did, she found them. My eyesight's rubbish. Right, porcini's in there, the rice is cooking, nice and creamy, stirring around, next ladle of stock's going in, and we are nearly there. This rice is going to take about 10 to 12 minutes to cook. You don't want it too chalky, you don't want it too al dente. I like risotto rice, which is like cooked through, creamy, not too much bite. A little bit of bite's okay, but not too much. And now keep that rice moving, and you can see it getting creamier and creamier as you add more and more stock. And like I said earlier, a really good risotto is all about the stock that goes into that rice. So we're looking for a really good, strong mushroom stock. Oh, smells amazing. Now that risotto is nice and creamy, we're going to add the butter. What we're going to do is going to turn the heat off, add the cold diced butter, put that on top, put a lid on it, just let the butter relax into the risotto as we cook the seps. Oh, it smells so good. When you're cooking, remember you're in charge, so taste along the way. You can adjust the seasoning, time exactly when the rice is nice and soft to you. Just a little bit of a bite, but it's nearly there. Super tasty already. And I think by the time we turn the heat off and add the butter, the residual heat is going to cook that rice through. Now, taking our ice cold butter we've been given, good quality butter really makes a difference. I'm going to cut this butter into nice sized dice, just like this. Nice and cold, you want it cold as it goes into the top of the risotto. And now we're going to add that to the risotto. That's just about cooked. Like I said, it's going to cook in its residual heat. The cold butter is going on top. I saw an Italian guy do this once and I've always done it ever since. Put the lid on and let the butter relax. Now we're going to add another tablespoon of ghee into that frying pan. Get it nice and hot, ready for the mushrooms. Now, if you are picking your own porcinis, I use a little brush here just to clean any other bits of dirt off. And when you cut it in half, another check to make sure it's safe. If the mushroom turns blue or stains blue, it's probably not safe to eat. This one's got a nice white coloured stalk. The flesh is staying white. It's got that nice pores underneath rather than gills, so I think it's definitely a porcini. I'm cutting it into quarters so we can get a nice fry on those edges. Now the pan's nice and hot, you can see it sizzling. We're adding the porcini flat side down, so we're going to cook it like I've said before. You cook a mushroom like a steak, so you want the flat side down to get a nice sear on it, a nice bit of colour, and that's where the flavour is going to kick in. No heavy shaking in the pan, a nice bit of space for the mushrooms so they can all fry nicely. You can see them sizzling away. And just like a steak, nice bit of flaky sea salt on there to season the mushroom. And keep an eye on them, you don't want them to burn. Give them a little lift up, check on the underside, and then we get a nice golden brown colour just like this. Just start turning them over. If you put the mushrooms in like a clock, like 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, by the time you get around to 12 o'clock again, that mushroom should be ready to turn over, just like cooking scallops. And they look delicious. Nice and golden brown, nice sizzle, smell amazing. We're nearly good to go. And now to finish the mushrooms off, another nice slab of butter in there. Remember, this dish is all about luxury, so we want to get that nice creamy foamy butter all over those mushrooms to enrich that flavour. Spoil yourself, this only happens once a year. Now let's take a look at the risotto. The butter's melted. Next, we're going to add some delicious Parmesan cheese. Now, being nice and generous with the Parmesan cheese, we're going to grate a fair bit in there. This is going to also add to the creaminess. Obviously, it's going to add a nice, rich flavour of Parmesan cheese to the risotto, and it also adds a little bit of seasoning because the Parmesan is quite salty naturally. Over the summer, I was given this delicious truffle-scented olive oil, so we're going to emulsify. Emulsify means stir it in. We're going to put some truffle-flavoured olive oil into that risotto. Perfect combination to mushrooms. And then stir it in nice and gently like this. The perfect consistency for risotto. You want to stir it and then it relaxes under its own weight. Nothing worse than a stodgy risotto that stands up. And now that last quick taste, just to make sure it's seasoned, ready before you give it to your friends, family or guests. That is incredible. Delicious. Recipe will be down below in comments. Oh, I cannot wait. Now here we go. A risotto is traditionally served on a flat plate, not a bowl like most restaurants. So a nice flat plate, and look at that, it's relaxing under its own weight. Nice and creamy, loads of sauce, that perfect consistency for risotto. Now on go those delicious porcini mushrooms on top, which are going to add texture to the risotto. Oh, so excited. This looks delicious. Hopefully it will not kill me. Smell like porcini, look like porcini. Didn't stain blue when I cut them in half. Positive sign. Right, now they're on. Get some Parmesan shavings on top of there. Left-handed peeler, awesome. And then finally another drizzle of that beautiful truffle oil, just to finish it off. If I was in a restaurant, a few herbs, but I'm not, so not. And there we have it, our beautiful porcini risotto, made from forage mushrooms from the New Forest. Some of that beautiful artichoke and truffle pesto, which is going to work really well with that risotto and give a nice punch of flavour, just to mix it up a little bit. The one thing I don't like about risotto, it can get a bit samey, so this is going to add those little interesting notes as you're eating it. Let's dive in. So the best part of my job, here we go. Let's give it a taste. Look at that, it's delicious. Smells like the autumn, looks really autumnal. Look at that, Parmesan shavings, fresh ceps, cep risotto, and that lovely, delicious artichoke and truffle pesto. Oh. Right. Literally mouth explosions of flavour. It's literally, they put the spoon in, it just bursts full of flavour. Oh man. That's 3 Michelin star right there. Holy moly. So good. Delicious. Literally, the Parmesan and that artichoke truffle pesto is like making my saliva glands just like burst. Oh, so delicious. If these aren't cep mushrooms, well, what a way to go. I need to sit down and focus on this because it's so delicious. If you love this and you want to do other cep recipes, then there's a beautiful cep soup recipe right here. See you in the next video. Enjoy. That's so good.